Hi, this is Carl from Lingua Genesis, and this is part 3 of the discussion on how you can work out the day of the week on which any date from 1752 onwards to infinity fell or falls or will fall, provided that no changes are made to the current Gregorian calendar. I mentioned in parts 1 and 2 that for any particular century, however, from, for example, 1800 to 1899, from 1900 to 1999, from the year 2000 to 2099, each century has its own key doomsday. Where the 20th century is concerned, the doomsday is Wednesday. That means that for the first year within that group of years, that being 1900, the doomsday was also Wednesday. I then went on to mention that there are key dates throughout the year on which doomsday for that particular year falls. In 1900, the doomsday was Wednesday. That means that Wednesday fell on the 4th of the 4th, 1900, the 4th of April, 1900, on the 6th of the 6th, the 6th of June, 1900, on the 8th of the 8th, the 8th of August, 1900, on the 10th of the 10th, the 10th of October, 1900, and on the 12th of the 12th, the 12th of December, 1900. I then went on to mention in part 2 that there were other key reference points on which doomsday for any particular year falls. Those being the 9th of the 5th, the 9th of May, switch the 9th of the 5th to the 5th of the 9th, the 5th of September, both the 9th of May and the 5th of September 1900 also fell on a Wednesday, as did the 7th of the 11th, the 7th of November, switch to the 11th of the 7th, the 11th of July. The 11th of July 1900 was a Wednesday, as was the 7th of November 1900, also a Wednesday. Then I mentioned that if you take a year within a century, for example, let's take 1942, then to work out the doomsday for that particular year, you take the last 2 digits of the year, 42, ask yourself how many times 12 goes into 42, the answer being 6, 12s are 36, remainder 6, and then divide 6 by 4, that gives you 1, remainder 2. However, you ignore the remainder in that particular instance in the 3rd stage of that calculation. So the doomsday for 1942, we have 3 12s are 36, add 6, and then 1 4 is 4, remainder 2, add together the 3, the 6, and the 1 to give you 10. Count 10 days from doomsday for the century, counting 10 days from Wednesday, that leads you to the following Saturday. I mentioned that a key doomsday in a non-leap year was the 3rd of January. Also, you have the 31st of January and also the 28th of February. But in a leap year, the doomsday prior to the 1st of March is actually for the 4th of January as opposed to the 3rd of January. For the 1st of February as opposed to the 31st of January, and for the 29th of February as opposed to the 28th of February. However, with 1942 it wasn't a leap year, so the 3rd of January 1942 was on doomsday on the Saturday. So if we take the 11th of January 1942, 8 days afterwards, that takes us to the following Sunday, hence Sunday the 11th of January 1942. Now we use the same equation or the same algorithm for years within different centuries. However, we have to first bear in mind and remember what the doomsday was for that particular century. Between 1800 and 1899 inclusive, the doomsday was Friday. So let's take 1898 and let's choose the 12th of August 1898, remembering that the doomsday for the 1800s was Friday. How many times does 12 go into 98? That's 8. Remainder 2. 2 divided by 4 you can't do because you'll end up with a half. You don't have a whole number or an integer. So we have 8, remainder 2. 8 plus 2 is 10. Count 10 days from doomsday. So count 10 days from Friday. That takes you to Monday. So Monday was the key doomsday in 1898. We're after the 12th of August 1898. The 8th of the 8th was doomsday. The 8th of August was doomsday. That was a Monday. And so the 12th of August was 4 days afterwards, hence Friday, the 12th of August 1898. Let's go into the 21st century where the doomsday is a Tuesday. And and let's take the 9th of September 2004. Taking the last two digits of the year, 4. 4 doesn't go into 12, but leaves a remainder of 4. 4 divides by 4 and leaves 1 with no remainder, so we add 4 and 1 gives us 5. We count 5 days from Doomsday for the 21st century. We count 5 days from Tuesday, leads us to Sunday. The 5th of the 9th was Doomsday, so that was Sunday the 5th of September 2004. The 9th of September was 4 days afterwards, so that fell on Thursday. Now regarding the Doomsday for any particular century, it actually repeats once every 400 years. In the 1800s it was Friday, in the 1900s Wednesday, from 2000 to 2099 Tuesday, and then from 2100 to 2199 it will be Sunday. So the sequence from 1800 onwards to infinity, provided no changes are made to the Gregorian calendar, are Friday, Wednesday, Tuesday and Sunday.